Mossy, you're never far away from a complete are you?
Hello, Mossy.
Mr. Fagan, how goes it with you, sir?
Yes, very well, very well. How are you? Yeah.
This imprisonment business is starting to wear a bit thin.
So crashing. There's one rule in journalism world, in the motorcycle industry, and that is, if you're going to crash, do it in front of the camera.
Yeah, man.
And you've been fairly successful. You've been fairly successful at that, as have I. The beauty of photography and photographers is they're usually on a corner waiting for me or you or someone else to crash. So, and usually do. And we've got a fine array of pictures for you today to enjoy. So we kind of got our top 3 crashes, if you could say that, such a thing, if there is such a thing as top 3 crashes. And we've done that purely on pictorial evidence. So, yeah, we've got the pictures from some of them pretty dramatic. Well, they're all pretty dramatic, it's fair to say. So we've got a top 3. We'll talk you through those, and obviously we've got a bit of a quick fire round at the end. So I'll roll first then. So in third place was I know some of you've seen it already. It's the Ducati 899 Panigale highside at Silverstone. Big day. There's a couple of cracking pictures in there. It's a big day. It was the Saturday, so it was qualifying on the Saturday morning, and I just had a massive 140 mile an hour crash in the morning in qualifying. It was really wet. The track was absolutely piss wet, and I just touched the brakes and went down straight away. That was at the end of the Brooklyn Straight at Silverstone. And the marshal, he stopped me afterwards. The marshal said, "I've never seen someone slide for so long as you." I went, "Okay, I'll take that." I had to go to the medical centre because it was such a fast track. I was absolutely fine, but the bike wasn't. And so the boys, the team, the Carl Cox team, spent all day fixing it, ready for the race later on. And as I said, it was a big day because Carl Cox was there. I knew straight away the pace was too hot for me, but I thought, you know what, It's now or never. There was a group of 5 of us. I was in 5th, and I was feeling a bit uncomfortable. Anyway, 3rd or 4th lap, came out of the I think it's the Club Chicane Complex on the Vale, and then onto the F1, the new F1 straight where the wing is. Touched a white line on the grid, and as you can see from the pictures, she stepped right out. She was full lock. I was giving it the Jason Crump for a good, what it felt like, 5 seconds. In reality, it was probably more like a millisecond, and then it spat me over the top. But the bad thing was, the really, really gutting thing was, as I was, literally I had time to look up as I was still sliding, and I saw the bike just go into the tyre wall, into the pit wall. And that was the end of that. The only slight positive thing to come out of that crash was the fact it was the last race of the season, and we had the whole of winter to rebuild it. But yeah, not good.
Well, looking at the picture, it would seem as though you needed all winter to rebuild it.
Yeah.
That was a bit of a short wheelbase version, that one, wasn't it?
They have a low ride height version for a lot of bikes, but that is definitely the short wheelbase version. Yeah. Anyway, what's your third place, Mossy? What are you going for?
I reckon that KTM Stoppy, you know.
Oh, yes.
A good picture. I mean, as we've said, if you're going to crash.
Yeah.
690 KTM launches, 3 of them. I'm on the Duke at the time. We've had a good day, and we think, just do a few stunts towards the end, you know. And I thought, I'll try some rolling stoppies. However, I brought, you know how you're supposed to just keep them going so that if they do get a bit too high, if you release the brake, it'll just sit back down and go. I brought mine to a halt, and it still had too much momentum. Anyhow, you can see from the sequence, actually, that I'm a hero for about a millisecond, and then I just fly out the front. And worse still, the bike comes down onto me back, proper twats me against the road, and just any air I did have in my lungs, gone.
Oh, yes.
You know, anybody who's been winded properly knows how bad it is. I mean, you try and breathe, don't you? But you just can't. The pain, man. You're just like paralysed. Snapper runs over, and he goes, "Are you all right? You all right? You're all right?" I went, did you get the picture? And as soon as he said yes to that, I instantly felt a lot better. So if you're going to do it, make it spectacular and do it in front of a top snapper. As pictures prove, it's It's a good series, isn't it?
Oh, very good. Did you actually hurt yourself then?
Yeah, apart from the winding,
Yeah.
which meant I couldn't talk for a few minutes, which most people
I was going to say,
he must be serious.
do it again! Do it again, Mossy!
Just lie there for a few hours.
So number 2 in the Fagan crash charts is pretty spectacular one. It is the picture of me headbutting a Fireblade, or just after headbutting a Fireblade. Now this kind of messed with me a bit. It was a big one. Set the scene. So it's I think it's April bank holiday, or was it later on August bank holiday? Anyway, it's a bank holiday, and it's a big meeting. It's a Thundersport Lord of Anglesey or something. Big prize money on TV. It was a really big group of us. I think it's halfway through the race, and really big group of us in the Superbike race, and just coming around the hairpin, the banked hairpin at Anglesey.
Oh yeah, with it, yeah.
Obviously, you know how close you can get to people racing, and literally, I could reach out and touch this guy's rear wheel, and he has the monster, the mother of all high sides. I mean, he went so. I mean, he probably got frost on him when he came back down. He was absolutely right up there, and I had two choices. He came down, and I thought I could either hit him or I can either try it and avoid him. So obviously, I did the latter, but his bike bounced in front of me and came up, and that's the picture you see. It literally hit me square in the face.
I mean, I'm amazed you've survived that. Can you imagine? What sort of bike was it?
It was a
What was
Fireblade.
his bike?
It was yeah.
So, twatted by a Fireblade at pace.
I mean,
you're still here at on the tail.
You're still doing kind of 60, 70 miles an hour on the exit of that. So I don't know how you work out the maths, but it's 200 kilos and 60, 70 mile an hour impact speed. It's
Go on. What was the damage to you then?
Well, this is the day that I swore I'd never do a club race again, because the BSB
being snobby.
I mean, the medical services at club racing just don't make sense. If you've got existing injuries like I have, and you need treatment like I did, it's not good. So I came round. I was not clean out. I had no recollection of lying in the gravel, and I woke up to two marshals dragging me like that out of the gravel trap. Well, the race was still going on. It wasn't red flagged.
Oh,
that was the first issue, and then I had a couple of other issues, and the fact that I broke my arm and I broke my foot, and I was in a lot of pain, and I dislocated my shoulder. So it wasn't good.
They dragged you by that.
Yeah.
They dragged you by.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
It was painful. I'm not gonna lie, it was a painful one. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it was enough to make you make a few animal noises. And to make it worse, my kids, my wife and my kids, and my basically the newborn were all watching it and thinking, "Oh, he's dead, And it wasn't pretty, but. And to make things worse, we went to Bangor Hospital on that day, and Bangor Hospital, it was Bank Holiday Monday. They didn't have the staff to do it for some reason, so they put my shoulder back in with some ketamine and morphine and whatever else, and then sent me driving. So we had another 5-hour drive back down to Bristol with us two screaming kids and a broken foot and a broken arm, with hardly any drugs. So it was interesting time. It was scary in the fact, as you know, head injuries aren't brilliant, but we'll get to them later on.
We will.
So what's on number 2 on your list then, Mossy?
Well, it's a crash that sort of ended up making me a bit famous almost. As you can tell from the picture of the GSX-R 1000. Well, let's see. It's a bit high, isn't it?
It's high, and it's an iconic picture. It is an iconic picture within the motorcycle industry.
It's an absolute beauty.
Yeah.
Do you know what? It's a big test, and it's part of a big test. This bike. It's the back in the days when the super bikes were the really important. The big bore super bikes were the biggest test of the year.
Yeah.
And it's about a 2 or a 3 day gig. There's lots of us. We did the road bit, and then Mackenzie and Whittam were going to ride on track the day after. And we got the end of the first day, and it had all gone well. I was sort of, feeling happy with life, as you do, But we've just got to get some wheelie pictures in the bag before the light fades, We're just under a bit of time pressure. Maybe that explained it, I don't know. we go to this unused back road where there's a bloke walking his dog and he wonders what we're doing, you know. I said, look, we're just going to do a few stunts. You can watch if you want, you know. Anyhow, I do about 10 passes and it's fine and dandy. But on the one that wasn't, I left it in first rather than second when I was giving it a big handful to snap it up. And it did a proper Max Biaggi. As you can see in the picture, there was no chance of saving it. Round about then, I did think, you know what, I haven't got this. Anyhow, it goes down the road and then it catches fire, man. There's this massive ball of flame and I just went, man, if it wasn't bad enough already. But luckily, it was just the vapour, well, just some stuff leaking out of the fuel cap. Just vapour from that had ignited on all those sparks that you can see from the titanium can that's dragging.
And wasn't it the only one in the country?
There was 2 of them.
Oh, 2.
MCN had theirs. They were out of the country, so yes, effectively it was. And that was the worst bit. There was no spares for this bike at all. That was, I had just ruined that test in an instant, you know. Anyway, me and John Hurry went to the pub and had one of those. Over a pint we went, what do we do? I phoned Les Pearson up. He was a chief mechanic at Crescent Suzuki who was running the BSB team. Told him the story. I said, look, desperate for bits. Can you help? He said, mate, we've got 4 of them here that we've just prepped for Reynolds and Kageyama to race this season. Come down here, take what you want. And that we did, and we got them back. Got the GSX-R back in Ace Nick, and that was the end.
Happy days.
Well, it was a happy ending.
Yeah.
I mean, John Noble, give him a mention, who took the shot. He has made a few quid out of that. He's been on a few front covers and centrefolds, I'll tell you. And the dog walker, God knows what he thought. I didn't see him again, but he's probably telling the tale of this day. Jack Russell is probably telling the tale of this day.
Oh, God.
Yeah, bit of do you know what? It was a big event, but without the picture, you can't tell as good a story, can you?
No, exactly. No. So, top of the charts in the Fagan crash chart then. Well,
top of the charts, I can't wait.
This was a crash that kind of ruined any kind of hope of any racing career that I had, and this is the Knockhill crash. And in what started off, it was a kind of innocuous low side turned into an absolute fist of a job, which ruined a lot of stuff. But let's rewind a bit. So this is 2009. This is me in the British Superbike Championship on a Honda Fireblade. We had very good engines. We had 225 brake at the rear wheel. We had the same spec engines as the HM Plant Boys, so Glenn Richards and Josh Brooks at that time. And they were very...
Why aren't you champion? Why aren't you champion?
I'll get into that.
You have the kit.
Because I'm shit, mate.
Oh, that excuse. I've used that to good effect many times.
But the whole experience, the whole kind of season was tainted by the fact with this throttle connection, and it was never right. It was, whereas everyone else was using the Motec ignition, a Motec ECU, or magnetic Marelli, predominantly magnetic Marelli. At that time, you could use everything, well Superbike spec. We were running HRC electronics and had no one to make them any good. So no one with a laptop that would go, I'll have some of that, magic button,
so
job done.
What was it? Was it just switch like? Did you get
you literally
all the power
touched
instantly?
Yeah, you touched the throttle and you had full 225 horsepower, what it felt like at the time, and I ended up coming off it a bit. But anyway, on to Knockhill. So this is in qualifying. This is the first time we'd used a qualifying tyre. It was SC0 at the time, and just that, yourself, you put the extra grip at the rear and it pushes the front. And I made the mistake of just going in, looked at data, exactly the same speed, just tipped in and the front pushed, and I got caught up with the bike going down the hill. Should have been, it's not slow there. The first corner of Knockhill isn't slow.
And you're on a flying lap at the time.
Yeah, it's qualifying. Yeah, we got 1.5 litres in the tank and it's a hottie. Yeah. So anyway, tipped in, lost the front, and I thought this is bad, and rolling, got caught up with the bike a bit, and as you can see, my nice little pose at the end there. It looks...
it looks staged, doesn't it? It's utterly staged.
But unfortunately, I dislocated my shoulder and broke my arm, and I'd lost in this crash the top of my humerus had cracked and come off, so I've only got half of the socket, if you like, in my arm. And yeah, so I went to the medical centre, and as I touched on before, the medical facilities at BSB are absolutely outstanding. You've got CT scanners, you've got MRIs, you've got X-rays, everything there to keep you in a good state. And they put me straight in within 5 minutes. They were trying to get my shoulder back in. And it was just a really, really bizarre experience with morphine and ketamine and gas and air. I had all these doctors around me. One of them was a panda face, the other one was a horse face, my wife was a cow. I mean, it was just really, really bizarre. And then Glenn Richards came in because he broke his femur, which ended his season. And of course, when that happens, you've got all this, a sensory overload almost. And Glenn's making all these noises literally, a couple of feet away from me, and they're working on him and working on me, and it was a really strange experience. But like I said, that really ended my racing for a long time, because I didn't ride for I rode a bike. I did tests with fast bikes 2-3 weeks later, but I didn't end up racing properly for a good 18 months, and it's still not right. So, but as you can see as well, the bike, nothing left of it.
I mean, that looks as though it's been chucked out of a Hercules at 30,000 feet, doesn't it? Yeah,
there was nothing left of it. I think the engine was running outside for a while.
So knackered inside
everything.
Then.
Oh yeah. So, Mr. Moss, what is number one? I've got a feeling. In fact, I know what it is. But what is number one on the Mossy crash chart?
Well, it's it's number one by a bloody long way for all the wrong reasons, really. It's the first time I got properly hurt,
Really?
Yeah. Up till then, I'd bust a collarbone only, and that fixed itself fairly quickly. And I think that was a bit of a problem. I went to the TT having not been hurt before, and I think subconsciously I was under the impression that I was Captain Scarlet or something,
Yeah.
Because after most crashes, I just got up and dusted myself down and went again. Not here, I didn't. In fact, we'll come to that. There was an element of that as well at the TT. I had two bikes. I had a Thunder race for the production race, and I had a V&M tuned CBR 600 for the... I don't know if it was a junior then before the Super Sport, whatever it was that race. Anyhow, good practice week. Decent times, felt safe, no moments. I was brand new to it. I couldn't do well because it was too fresh to it. I was just going round, but it was going okay, Anyhow, first race on the third lap at Quarry Bends, which is bloody fast, on that CBR6. I think it was fifth gear,
Oh, yeah.
I went to change direction, and I just lost the front as I did it. And I was super lucky because bloody a lot of people have got properly hurt and killed there, I went straight down the track. I mean, poor Marshall, he comes running up. He's not allowed to stand right on the corner for safety reasons, obviously. He's seen this CBR cartwheel at speed, and probably me doing something similar. And he rushes up and he gets to me. I said, "Oh man, you haven't got a cigarette, have you, mate?" And he goes, cigarette, you're getting in the helicopter now. I had to calm him down. But, as we know, crashes look horrendous sometimes, don't they? I had a bit of skin off my knee. I mean, I tried to debate whether it was... Well, I didn't want to go in the helicopter. I said, "Mate, I haven't hurt myself enough. Somebody else might need that, I was a bit embarrassed when I got to Nobles with just needing a plaster, I'm not having a go at the Marshal. He did a good job, but it was just... It obviously affected him a bit more than me, Anyway, it turns out that was just a practice for a much bigger crash. 2 days later, it's the production race, and it's probably a day and a half actually. I crash on the Wednesday night and I go out for this production race on the Friday morning. So like 7 miles into the race I go down. Now, because I can't remember starting the race, crashing, getting hurt, being in hospital, in both the Isle of Man and Leicester subsequently, I can't really tell you anything about the accident, but Ian Simpson saw it all. He was lining me up for a pass, He was just going to outbrake me into Greenburgh Bridge, but he didn't, because I didn't brake. He said this, as soon as he started braking hard and I didn't, he went, "Whoa, man, You know, he pulled himself up as fast as he could to a stop.
Yeah.
Because he knew it was going to end in wreckage, which is exactly what it did. Anyhow, badly busted femur, you know, busted in 2 places and it came out the side.
Compound job.
Head injury, not good. I mean, as I say, I've no recollection of anything for about 10 days. But apparently, when I was in Noble's Hospital, I was not a model patient. I kept screaming at the nurses, saying, "What sort of hotel is this, man? I've ordered a pint 20 minutes ago and I've still not got it." And, you know, I was quite coherent, but I was just talking utter nonsense, you know. Some say that I may yet to recover. I mean, I kept trying to get out of bed to start, as I claimed, at my next race. It was like, look, I've got another race, don't hold me back in here, I need to go, you know. I was just out of it completely, didn't know what the score was. And yeah, out of action for 8 months in total. Big one, and it made me really think about riding bikes again, actually.
Really?
I mean, I was happy to go back to it, but I had to relearn, and I was bloody scared.
Really?
I raced again. You know, when you've had your first big one, it just affected me psychologically. That's why Dewan, to this day, is my hero, and all the rest of them that get hurt and get straight back to it and get competitive immediately, almost, you know. I tried to race again the following year, and I was at a race at Brands Hatch, and I just came in and I just said, can't do this anymore. I've tried racing a couple of times since, but it's still, it's not for me anymore, you know.
No, fair play.
A broken boy.
Right, so now it's time for the quick fire round. We've got our... Let's go...
How long have we got out?
Not long. Quick fire round. Let's go scariest. Go on, you go first.
I'm at Richard getting the helmet painted. He's done a brilliant job. I'm happy. The weather's good. I'm on my way home. 1 hour later, I stop for petrol. I get an ice cream. I'm loving life. It's all good. 10 miles after that, once I get going again, I start crashing for some unknown reason. I'm flying through the air just going, am I crashing here? What? I've hit a deer. A deer's run out straight in front of me and down I've
bastard.
gone. And you know what? Worse still, 7 weeks later, I have a near miss with another one. So what I thought was a once-in-a-lifetime lightning strike type, you know, never happen again incident, unfortunately just alters my perception of riding anywhere near greenery anymore. Anytime I go past trees, I'm crapping it. What about your scariest crash then, Al?
That would have to be 2009 Cartagena pre-season testing, the BSB bike. Do you know Cartagena?
I've crashed it as well. Yeah. SP1 totaled it.
So the penultimate left before the tight left. So it's a really, really fast left kink, just about to touch the brakes, and out of nowhere, on a good lap, and I just come off the throttle, about to touch the brakes, and it's massive high side, and
so unexpected.
Unexpected.
Yeah.
I mean, it turned out later that the obviously it was a brand new bike, and one of the radiator hoses popped off and shed onto the
loose or broken.
The Jubilee clip, excuse me, the Jubilee clip had cracked. In fact, so the pipe had come off and just put water straight on the back wheel, and that was it, down. But the reason it was scary was because I had an out-of-body experience. I was obviously out cold, and I was looking down at myself for I don't know how long, looking down at myself on this track thinking, he's dead, you're dead mate, he's dead, he's gone. And I've never had a head injury like it, and it's not been good. So then I came round to Michael Dunlop, who chucked his bike against the side of the fence and run over because he thought I was dead.
Good on him. Good on him.
And he kind of helped me, supported my head, and was talking to me, and I was like, oh yeah. I came round, and I wasn't right for days, weeks, months in fact. I went to the med centre, and the medical centre were typical Spanish. They said, I wouldn't want to go to Spain, to Spanish hospital, you would get charged lots of money, and in the end I didn't go, but I should have done, because I felt I just felt horrible, anxious, and really. I mean, it was really scary. Head injuries, as you know, Mossy, they're not good, are they?
Terrible, terrible.
So, Mossy, what about your biggest crash? Apart from the TT?
Apart from the TT,
Yeah.
There's another one actually. You've just mentioned Spanish hospitals. I was in the one in Ronda for 10 days after this bugger. Tyre test, second day. First day was on track. If you're going to crash, you should do it there, not on the road. I kid you not, I reckon there's 2 miles to go before we get to Ronda, where we're going to tuck into lunch and watch the Dutch TT on telly. Not me. I'm doing battle with someone, actually, I have to admit, but not going crazy. And when the front went, the first thing I thought was, what? It was just so unexpected. You know, quite often if you fall, you're not surprised because you've been pushing hard or something, or you've had a moment, or you've made a mistake. This was absolutely out of the blue. Trouble is, it was on that Malaga to Ronda road where you just shouldn't crash. It's too dangerous.
Yeah.
And I went into a rock face, man, and I was lucky actually to come away with a load of busted ribs, punctured lung, kidney damage. This is lucky, man.
Yeah.
And I broke my upper arm really badly as well. It had about 30 fractures. It sort of just smashed, you know. And 2 days in intensive care as well. One of them was on my birthday. But to this day, I feel lucky to have got away with that, because these mountains are not movable objects, are they?
I dread to think. I mean, I'll touch wood, praise the Lord, whatever. I've been very lucky enough to done all my crashing on the track. And we do.
It's the place to do it, isn't it?
I mean, where you're supposed to do it, you know, where you're racing, you're not supposed to crash it. Anyway, but the point is, riding on those roads on some launches, you think, I don't want to crash there. I don't want to crash there. If I did, well, yeah, you've proven my point. But
right, there's a couple of big ones from me. Give me one of your big crashes then.
Probably going to go for one of the fastest ones I've ever had. Sadly, I haven't got any pictures of it, but this is Thruxton, 2011. This is my season coming back from 2009, where I was smashing myself up at Knockhill. And we were doing super stock. So
you've been happy of this, aren't you?
This is a super stock class, as most people know. This is really tough, and this is the 3rd round of the season. I just got the bike right, and feeling really good. I qualified in the 3rd row of the grid from memory, so we were right up there, feeling good. Home track, the big ZX-10, send it off the line on the first lap. Turn 1, turn 2, and you know how fast turn 2 is. You know, you're flat in 4th gear, even on the first lap. Absolutely pinned. And all I remember is this guy coming across me and he's swerving me out. And I'm thinking, what the? Like almost like the deer story. Very much like the deer story.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Having the crash before you know it, sort of thing.
So anyone who's crashed at Thruxton will realise that the surface is like shell grip. It's so coarse, so abrasive. And it ripped my levers open. I was wearing shit levers at the time. I looked down, my knee didn't feel very well, and I looked, my levers were ripped right open. I could see my kneecap and blood, flesh, and gore and all sorts. And it wasn't good. And I also later realised that I'd done my ACL, and it was a bit of a mess job. So when I started moving it, it felt really awkward. I knew I'd done some sort of ligament damage or something, but I'd lost the bottom third of my kneecap. So somewhere in the field at Thruxton is the bottom third of my kneecap. So if any of you find it, there's a reward for its safe return. But anyway, got back to the BSB Medical Centre, and as I said, the BSB medics are amazing. You know, they patched me up, done as much work as they could, cleaned it up. But then I had to go to Salisbury for a skin graft and the operation, and I had 7 hours of surgery in Salisbury. But it turns out the best place to go, because that's where they bring all the ex-forces or the forces back. So from Afghan and Iraq and everywhere else, that's where they go to be patched up. So I was in good hands, and recovered. So of the list, the extensive list, Mossy, which there is, there must be an embarrassing crash amongst your montage.
Well, there's not just one, but I've picked what I think is the most embarrassing. I've stopped racing. This is well before the TT. And somebody offers me a speed triple because I'm at MCN. Anyway, I say yes to that. I go to Brands for my first round. It's a big series, man. A lot of money, a lot of big names.
That'd be Super
proper
Cup
good
at the time,
guys.
wouldn't it?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was actually, yeah.
Yeah.
British Championship stuff, yeah. Anyhow, like I say, I hadn't raced for 8 years, not been to Brands for 10 years. Get the bike, paint it, put the pipe on, get the leathers. You know, I'm ready to go. First ever lap in 8 years of sort of, first angry lap in 8 years. And it's on the full circuit, and I get out the back, and I come to Dingle Dell, you know, that sort of fairly fast right-hand kink.
Yeah.
Wasn't one of them anymore because they put a chicane in the bloody thing. I had no idea it was there. And you know that horrible feeling where you just know there's nothing I can do about this. This is a crash.
Impending
There is
doom.
Indeed. There is no plan B, son. You are on your arse and you haven't even got to the end of the first lap. I mean, what a prat.
Were they pissed off?
Nah, I made me excuses. I think I'd gained enough of a reputation by then for no one to be surprised. But if I just asked somebody to lead us round or something, you know, I mean, if there's ever a lesson in learning the circuit before you go around it, I mean, if I went to Mazzano now, I'd probably go the wrong way around. I've crashed there as well. Yeah, but my blushes could have heated the planet for a few seconds after that one, I'll tell you. Got one yourself, Al, an embarrassing one?
I've been very lucky. I mean, there's only one that really stands out, and that is California Superbike School. And I was doing a feature for fast bikes, and it was, you know, can you teach an old dog new tricks? It turns out you can't. Now, I came from motocross background, and you're not looking through corners in motocross background. And I only started doing it later on in my road racing career. But anyway, so I got doing this California Superbike School where you're looking for your turning point and you're looking literally on the other side of the track to go around the corner like they teach you to. I wasn't a fan of doing it. I didn't feel comfortable doing it. I didn't feel comfortable after this day at Rockingham. Sure enough, anyway, the hairpin at Rockingham, turned in, looked round the corner. Next thing you know, I'm on my arse. I was like, what the fuck? I turned in, obviously too early, looked through the corner, and I was on the inside, on the grass on the inside. So I've gone over the rumble strip, onto the grass on the inside of the corner, on one of their R6s. And I'm like, sorry guys, it's broken.
I don't think I've heard an excuse like that. I mean, it's not an excuse, it's a reason, obviously, but I've never heard of one of those before.
Well, you've heard of the, you know, everyone runs wide on the track. I've never heard anyone run tight.
Quick steering, them R6s, man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What was that, Dave?
Right, thank you, Mossy. Thanks for joining us. And like I said, I think I'll definitely pick the best person to come and join me and talk about crashing. So, like I said, if you can do it big and do it in front of a snapper. But it's not big, it's not clever. I don't recommend it, but if you're going to do it, full send.